Hey, Steve Mignani here at High Octane Classics with a 1965 Mustang GT350 convertible. Now we all know, of course, that Shelby didn't make any convertibles in 1965. In 1966, yeah, there were 4 built, but this is not one of them. This is a classic resto mod Mustang. And we got to remember that the pony car started with Ford's Mustang in late 1964. Beginning in April of '64, Ford started building the Mustang, and Lee Iacocca and the Ford management figured they might sell a couple 100,000 cars. Well, long story short, 681,000 Mustangs, give or take a little bit, were sold that first year and a half, 64 and a half and 65. Of them, only 102,000 or so were convertibles. But check this out, the 2+2, the fastback, arrived very late in the model year, and in fact, far fewer fastbacks or 2+2s were built than convertibles or the hardtop. Of course, the hardtop was the major seller. It had room for 5, a wide back seat, whereas the convertible and the 2+2 had a narrower rear seat, which could only take 4 people. But with that said, this is a great example of what people have been doing the Mustangs since they were new, and that's modifying them and upgrading them. This one's been given an R-type, or a Mustang GT350R front valance, and this is something seen on the GT350 road race cars, of which I think 36 or something like that were made in '65, but that ducts air into the radiator, and again, that's something seen on the race cars. So too, we have a 1965 Shelby GT350 hood, fiberglass with the open scoop, which of course does work. Puts air into the engine bay. Cooler air is denser air. Denser air helps the engine make more power. And got the hood pins here. And the Shelby stripes, of course, are present and accounted for. Now keep in mind, this is a tribute to the 1966 GT350 convertibles, again, of which only 4 were made. This is not one of them, but that's fine. The car doesn't know the difference. Let's open the hood. Nice, a small block Ford, which is what you'd expect to see. Aluminum cylinder heads, a nice touch. Those look to be Edelbrock cylinder heads, I think. And again, the lightweight cylinder heads here, they have bigger ports, probably bigger valves than the stock Ford stuff, and they weigh less, so it's a win-win-win. Single 4-barrel Holley carburetor underneath a Cobra air cleaner. Now that air cleaner there is a reproduction of an original Ford item back in 1965-66. If you had a Mustang, you probably would buy one of these things and you were just as cool as the guy with the Cobra. And it's a nice add-on here. Now something we see on top of the spring towers are these aluminum plates. This car has been fitted with a coil-over front suspension upgrade instead of the coil spring and internal shock absorber that Ford would have put in this car when it was stock. These coil-over setups have better geometry and often way better handling than the Ford Falcon-based stuff, so that's a net plus. Radiator is Record, all fresh, quite a thick one, looks like it'd be about a 3-row. Right there, a fan shroud. This is a factory piece right here. The fan shroud, of course, helps to force or direct the air from the fan through the center of the core, which is better than having no shroud and less directed, less efficient cooling. So good stuff to see that. Does have manual steering. Again, it's rack and pinion on this one, which is a nice improvement over the link type steering on the factory setup. And this is the dual circuit manual brakes, no problem with that. And again, 1967 was the first year Mustang and all of Detroit came to dual circuit brakes. The single circuit stuff was okay, but if you lost one wheel cylinder or one brake line, you had no brakes. But again, that was then. This is all new and it's not really an issue, but it's nice to see the dual circuit upgrade. And 17-inch American Racing wheels. They look kind of like the Torq Thrust that would have been seen on the GT350Rs of 1965, but better than all of that, disc brakes front and rear. Good to see that. The upgrade's done. And there's that GT350 rocker panel stripe. Iconic stuff. Again, this is not one of the 4 cars built in '66, but that's okay. This is more affordable. Those are untouchable. We open side and inside, there we have it. The Beautiful interior with bucket seats, of course, the centrally located C4 automatic shifter, optional wood grain steering wheel, and just a nice presentation, all fresh, good upholstery, nice carpet, dashboard, all of the items inside, 140 mile an hour speedometer. Probably not too far off the mark. Just make sure you got your wig on because a lot of wind in your hair, but again, a nice, fun car. Power top, I believe, on this one, which is a nice thing. I believe this right here would be the power top button. So up and down, good stuff. And again, we have the quarter panel scoops, these guys here, which again are part of the GT350 look-alike makeover. And this car originally was a Wimbledon White car assembled at the San Jose factory in California in 1965. So again, it's been redone in red. No problem with me. I like it. Looks good. Inside the trunk, what do we have? Yeah, very, very presentable. And I like to call this a crisp presentation. The paint on the hinges and the spring torsion springs here is not too thick. It's not running. It's crisp is what I like to say. It looks good. Underneath the trunk mat, it's good to see a whole bunch of Dynamat. This stuff right here is pretty expensive, but this is a soundproofing and a heat-proofing material that will help to make the car all that more enjoyable as you go down the road, and particularly on the floors. It keeps the exhaust heat from getting inside. 8-inch rear axle has the through the valance dual exhaust as seen on a GT. Now this was born a C code, which is a 289 two-barrel, but that was then. And again, I always say with tributes and clones, you know, the car doesn't know the difference. As far as the car is concerned, it has a 347, I think, cubic inch small block with aluminum heads, a big Holly 4-barrel, headers. So the car is going to behave like that. It doesn't know or care that it's a tribute. And I will say this, that your checkbook and your wallet will certainly know the difference between this tribute and an actual 1966 GT350 convertible, of which again only 4 were made. This ain't one of them, but that's cool, not a big deal. So this car can be purchased with as little as 10% down here at High Octane Classics. And keep in mind that High Octane Classics does deliver cars to anywhere on the planet, and they do accept trades, late models, customs, classics, even motorcycles. It's all possible. So to learn more about this 1965 GT350 convertible tribute, check it out on the High Octane Classics website.